The response that we came up with to what happened has given rise to unity. And I think we should see that what is going on should push us to go even further when it comes to supporting Ukraine and looking towards strategic autonomy. Of course, any aggression like this cannot remain without acts. We have to stop the financing of this regime. We have to try and avoid a humanitarian catastrophe as well. But let us be frank, and here I'm saying this to those groups who today want to go further. Why should the next steps be more difficult? Why should the cost of our actions to support Ukraine, why do they cost so much today for Europe? Because Europe still doesn't have at its disposal the tools to exert its power. Now, this isn't new. This Parliament, my group in particular, since 2019 has tried to support the Commission, but it would be naive to imagine that we're going to achieve that without a deep, far-reaching revolution of our society, our community strategy as well. A powerful Europe requires independence on the energy front. Yes, we want to diversify, but in the longer term, we cannot replace one dependency with another. This agenda of the Green Deal has to be reviewed and has to be sped up. A European power would require autarky, a food sovereignty. We've seen a resolution on this that we'll be looking at. We need to continue with that, making sure there's massive production to make sure that we provide the protein and nourishment needed in Europe, but also to avoid famine around the world. We need strategic autonomy as well. When it comes to our industrial power, we have to have massive investments in the industries of the future, make sure that we have security of supply when it comes to raw materials, but also generating huge numbers of jobs and re-dynamizing our economy. A European power also would be a requirement, put requirements on European defence as well. Of course, in time, this is essential, and the Socialist Group reminded us of this. We need to make sure that the strategic compass be put in place. We're looking at 100,000 troops in an initial stage would be insufficient. So, ladies and gentlemen, presidents, we need to confirm our joint objectives for our common actions. We need to stump up the funding. We're prepared to make sure that we work towards strategic autonomy. President of the Council, make sure the costs of this war are covered. Make sure we continue along the lines of reform. And if things get worse, we must adapt. But we have to move away from the status quo. Our only requirement here is to protect our citizens, defend our allies, whatever the situation be. Thank you.
Mr. Séjourné, I give the floor now on behalf of the Green Group to Ska Keller.